And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I'm executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Rich. I'm done Christmas shopping. I got done
Wow.
late last night and I didn't step 1 foot in any physical store to do it. So I'm feeling good. I'm
That
feeling
is,
energized. I got all the got all the important stuff done.
it's impressive. It's impressive. That's an accomplishment. I'm say 2/3, 3/4 of the way there. I've definitely got a little bit more to do. Well, actually, you know what? I think I did actually just once. I did step physically into a store for part of this, but yeah, most of it's gonna happen online this year, as I think is the case for a lot of folks who are watching or listening right now.
Yep. Well, hey, feather in both of our caps because it sounds like we'll be in good shape and not have to, last minute shop for anything. So that's what I always like. I always, despise doing. Oh, I still got to run around, but feeling good.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's dive into our top story of the week here. It comes to us from Nerdio. It is interesting in and of itself, but it's also kind of interesting in the context of other news this week. So let's talk about the story itself. Nerdio, for folks who are not familiar with them, they are arguably the foremost expert right now out there on standing up a Microsoft Azure environment for folks who don't necessarily know a lot about how to do that. They also have a couple of different products called Nerdio Manager. The original version of Nerdio Manager was meant for larger businesses. And the idea was if they already had some sort of Azure footprint in place, they were already doing something in Azure, and they just wanted to add Azure Virtual Desktop to that, this was going to accelerate the process for them, make it easier. And then very early this year, Nerdio Manager for MSP came out. That's a multi-tenant version of it for MSPs who want to use or want to set up Azure Virtual Desktop for their clients. So what they announced this week is a series of new features, basically designed to increase the resilience of those Nerdio Manager products, so BDR features. And I'll just kind of run you quickly through a few of these things. You'll detect the common theme here. So for example, they have added active host pool disaster recovery. So what does that mean? Basically, when your customers who use Azure Virtual Directory or Virtual Desktop, log in, they will get logged into 2 separate Azure regions simultaneously, so that if the primary region goes down for some reason or other, you fail over to the other region and the customer is still up and running. Image backup, similar kind of thing. They'll replicate image backups in multiple Azure regions. If there's an outage in one region, you still have access to backups in other ones. There's a Microsoft tool called Fslogic Cloud Cache. Long story there, but it basically utilizes or allows you to cache Azure Virtual Desktop user profiles, similar kind of thing, spread those out across regions so that downtime doesn't become an image. So clearly what they're trying to do here is protect Azure Virtual Desktop users from downtime within a particular Azure region. So if you are a Nerdio customer or partner, or you are thinking of becoming one, this is very useful functionality for you. The reason I bring it up this week is because really the big story in tech this week was that giant AWS outage that occurred. And what happened there? Well, their East region at AWS became unavailable. And it had huge disruptive effects and basically called attention to the fact that even though that kind of big outage is a relatively rare thing when you're talking about a hyperscaler like Azure, AWS, Google, etc., it does happen. And you do need to be thinking about what you should do for your customers, especially as we get more and more into this cloud first posture and everybody is relying, to some extent exclusively on the cloud. Figuring out what's going to happen if the cloud that your customer is using becomes unavailable is more and more important. And so for folks in the Azure universe, this is something certainly worth checking out. But even if you aren't a Nerdio partner, are more in AWS or Google, you really kind of need to be thinking about what is it that you can do to reduce your dependency on a particular region or even a particular cloud. Is a multi-cloud strategy that combines AWS, Azure, for example, so that if the whole cloud goes down, you have an alternative. Is that something that you want to consider? So interesting news from Nerdio, Eric, and interesting tie-in to the AWS news this week.
Yeah, I mean, what a great idea that nobody thought of before now, right? You would think that, you know, the Amazons and the Microsofts, would already think of this and put this stuff in place, but I guess they think they're, dare I say it, too big to fail. So, I mean, I think this is a great opportunity for partners to take advantage of, a service, and now is the time to have these conversations because you know all of our MSP business clients were affected too in one way or another. Now, Rich, as most of our listeners know by now, I'm no longer an active operating MSP, right? I sold that practice in 2007. However, I do use all kinds of different cloud platforms and applications to run my practice. And yeah, some of my critical platforms were down yesterday, having nothing to do with IT service management or anything like that. So this is an opportunity for partners to get in front of their clients, and while this pain is still fresh, and say, listen, we want to address this for you. We want to maybe even move you, because I think that's the other point of the article too, is as we move more away from that traditional local infrastructure in the building and start moving more toward these virtual environments and virtual desktop services, that's got clients concerned as well, right? So there's a couple of points here that we can make to help clients feel good about moving there, and the folks that are already there to subscribe to a service that can help maintain continuity in case of a business interruption. So yeah, good job, Nerdio.
And good timing, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned, Eric, that it is a good time to be thinking about some of these issues around cloud continuity. It's a good time to be thinking about something else, and that gets us to your tip of the week.
Absolutely, Rich. Thanks for setting it up. Now is the time, everyone. Now is the time to begin putting together your 2022 sales plan. I know a lot of channel pros out there are thinking about, the opportunity that next year is going to provide us. I mean, a lot of the statistics and reporting that we've seen, Rich, seem to indicate, fingers crossed, barring something really unforeseen happening, that next year is that growth year that everyone is waiting for anxiously. So my advice is to sit down and try to forecast what type of revenue you would like to achieve next year and where that revenue is going to come from. Typically, it comes from several buckets. It comes from existing client renewals, right? So managed service agreement renewals. I mean, what percentage of your 2022 revenue will come from that? Other subscriptions, maybe annual licensing renewals. But what about net new sales, right? Projects, professional services, and then selling more managed service agreements. And most importantly, Rich, cybersecurity agreements, right? How are we going to grow our footprint and sell more of our enhanced cybersecurity services and solutions to our clients? We're riding this wave of opportunity here during the pandemic, during the whole transformation or transition to more of a work from anywhere, work from home, more security focused awareness from our clients. Now's the time to really capitalize on that and draw a line in the sand that says, look, by this point in 2022, every single one of my clients that I'm serving will be subscribed to one of my cybersecurity bundles or packages of services. I've been talking about this a lot this year, Rich, and the risk is just too great for MSPs and their clients not to have these critical conversations and not to feel bad when clients don't want to move forward with you, to help them find another provider, because that's the kind of conversations we need to be having now to move this cybersecurity conversation forward and make sure that we're delivering these services as securely and profitably as possible.
Yeah, and the great thing about having a sales plan like that, I mean, it not only enables you to anticipate what to expect next year and plan around that in all the other areas around things like staffing, for example, and what you're going to need to handle the demand that you're forecasting. But having a sales plan of the kind you describe also puts you in the driver's seat, basically. So you know exactly what you're going to be talking about in the quarterly business reviews. You know the things that you're going to be looking to sell, and you'll have a plan, in January, going into the year, basically, for how you're actually going to go out and fill in those gaps, like in cybersecurity, where they exist. Add on the additional technologies that customers need to be more successful, be more resilient, or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, you want to have a plan, and you want to go into the year with one, and then therefore be able to have essentially a roadmap, a blueprint for how you're going to drive your 2022 instead of reacting to the market conditions and whatever it is the customer happens to say most recently that they're looking for or dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely, Rich. And then look at, prior year performance, and every year, you're trending and you're saying, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and how do we increase year over year? And of course, you're right on the money there. Along with your sales plan, you've got to determine what your capacity plan needs to be in order to support that new growth as well. Well said.
All right, well, and it leaves us with time for just one more story this week. Eric, I am going to read you the headline of this piece from the Associated Press just to kind of kick this off here, and then we can maybe tick through how many things about this are unexpected, let's say. Here's the headline from the Associated Press, Dateline Dubai. Dozens of camels barred from Saudi beauty contest over Botox. So let's start with the fact that there was apparently such a thing in Saudi Arabia as a camel beauty contest. Let's move on to the fact that some people take this seriously enough to apply Botox to the camel, that they are hoping to make the winner of that. And, thankfully, this fraud was detected, and dozens of camels have actually been barred from the competition this year. Over 40 of them disqualified from the annual pageant due to cheating. By the way, this is, if you're going to be a cheat, if you're that kind of person, this might be something worth cheating for, because there is something like $66 million in prize money on the line in this contest. Unbelievable. Also, Botox injections, common form of cheating, apparently. Facelifts, cosmetic alterations, and all sorts of things people do to go after that $66 million, apparently, Eric.
It's truly amazing, Rich, that the prize money for a beauty pageant for camels, at least in my experience, dramatically exceeds any kind of prize money that we have for any kind of beauty pageant here in the United States for people. I mean, that just, it just strikes me as very, very unusual and absurd. And again, I just can't imagine what the scoring or rating system would be. I mean, the swimsuit, segment, the evening gown segment, this has to be, a spectacle to see. I don't know.
The talent competition. Yeah, no, the mind boggles, actually, and who the judges are. It's an interesting, who knew, a little known corner of life here on Earth that we're just discovering this week.
Hmm.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us this week. That is all the time we've got in a 5-minute roundup. We look forward to seeing you next on our next episode, rather, that is. We are both a video and a traditional podcast these days. If you are watching the video and you like the show, why not check us out as a podcast? You'll find us on Google and Apple and Stitcher and Spotify, all the places you go for podcasts. While you're there, go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review. You'll help us be discovered by other listeners. I'm sure they will appreciate it. If you, in fact, are listening to a podcast right now, check us out on video. Easiest way to find us is on the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. Take a little extra time there to click that bell icon, and you will get notified when the new episodes become available. You can read more about Nerdio and their news this week, get all sorts of great business growth advice for your company on ChannelProNetwork.com every day. Great new content going live on that site every day. To learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, please visit ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. Once again, we thank you for joining us, folks. Please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.
Already.